Hello aspirants, welcome to Epitome IAS. So we are doing the UPSC PYQ analysis and today's topic would be climatology from the geography. So let us start with the first question. Consider the following statements. Statement 1, jet streams occur in northern hemisphere only. Statement 2, only some cyclones develop an eye. Statement 3, the temperature inside the eye of the cyclone is nearly 10 degrees Celsius lesser than the surroundings. Okay. First of all, you try to answer this question and then see the explanation. Okay. So before answering this question, if you see in the first statement, they are saying that the jet streams occur only in the northern hemisphere. So let me show you the picture of the jet stream. So this is the jet stream, this is polar jet and this is subtropical jet. And as you can see here, it is present both in the northern hemisphere and also present in the southern hemisphere. Okay, so they have given that jet streams are only present in the northern hemisphere. Okay, this is a very basic question. This statement is a wrong statement. Okay, because it is present in both the hemispheres. And statement 2 says that only some cyclones develop an eye. So if you see here, once we have eliminated the first statement, right? So we can eliminate A and we can eliminate D. Now we are left with B and C. So let us say you don't know whether the statement 2 is correct or not correct. In that case also, you already get to know that 2 is present in both the options. So we can say statement 2 is correct. Okay. Still, let us discuss about this statement also. Only some cyclones develop an eye. They are telling, let us say this is a cyclone, body of the cyclone, and you might know, this is the cyclone. And there is something called as the eye of the cyclone, the center of the cyclone, where there is no, movement of air. And let us say on the sides of the cyclone, we'll be having upward rising of warm air, and because of that, there will be formation of clouds, on the surroundings of the eye, and there will be precipitation happening on the sides of the eye. But let us say this eye portion, this particular eye portion, it may vary like 15 to 20 kilometers also, that particular circle, near circle region, there will be no precipitation. Why? Because there is no upward rising of warm air happening here. So this eye of a cyclone is one of the calmest part of a cyclone. It will be very calm inside the eyes of the cyclone. And if you see the body of the cyclone, it will be very violent because a lot of rain is happening and lot of cloud formation is happening. But in the eye portion, it is very, silent. It is very quiet. And what they're saying in the statement 2 is only some cyclones develop an eye. Is that so? The thing is, yes, only some cyclones, they will be developing this particular eye. When there is a well-established cyclone, a big cyclone, okay, with proper conditions, there are certain conditions which are required for the formation of a cyclone. When those all conditions are satisfied and a very big cyclone is formed, a very well-established cyclone is formed, then what will happen? It will be having a proper eye inside the cyclone. But in most cases, there will be, this well-established cyclone will not be formed. When the small, cyclone will be formed, in that case, what happens? It does not have any eye in between the, region. Okay. So we can say that, yes, some cyclones, they will be developing eye and some cyclones, they will be not developing eyes. Okay. So this statement is a correct statement. Then if you see statement 3, the temperature inside the eye of a cyclone is nearly 10 degrees Celsius lesser than that of the surrounding. What they are saying is the temperature inside the eye is lesser than compared to the surrounding of the, eyes. Let us say this is the structure of a cyclone. And this is the eye of the cyclone and this is the surrounding area of the cyclone. Okay, what they are saying is this particular temperature inside the eye is lesser than the surrounding temperature. So the thing is, this is wrong. Why? Because usually this eye region, this eye area, usually it is warmer compared to the surrounding of the eye. That is the other part of the cyclone. Why? Because here the precipitation is happening continuously. And this eye area, it will be having, warmer temperature compared to the surrounding of the eye. Okay, we can say this statement is a wrong statement. So what would be the correct answer? The correct answer is option C, only 2. Okay, so here you can see the structure of the tropical cyclone. So this is the cyclone, and we have the eye of the cyclone here. And as you can see, apart from the eye, the surrounding of the eye, it will be having a rising of warm air that will lead to formation of clouds, in the upper layer of the troposphere, and it will be leading to the precipitation. That's why we are getting rain whenever the cyclones are, formed. And if you see this eye region, it will be having, descending of cool air. So it will be having a descending of cool air here. But this is compared to the temperature. If you are comparing the temperature of the eye of a cyclone with the other part, this of the cyclone, usually the temperature inside the eye is warmer than the surrounding of the eye. Okay, so that's why that statement was a wrong statement. And here you have to notice this, that this particular tropical cyclones, they are formed in the tropical region. That's why they are called as tropical cyclones, right? Then these tropical cyclones, they will be moving in a counterclockwise direction in the northern hemisphere. Okay, in the northern hemisphere, these tropical cyclones, they will be moving in a counterclockwise direction. But in southern hemisphere, they will be moving in a clockwise direction. Okay, this is also one of the point which you have to notice here. Okay, so as we saw in the question, the first statement was talking about the jet streams. The jet streams, they occur in both northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. Okay, on the high altitudes, they are very fast flowing air currents that occur near to the troposphere, and they influence weather patterns and air travel routes in both the hemisphere. Okay, these jet streams are, on the top of the troposphere. They'll be flowing on the top of the troposphere with high speed, and these jet streams are present in both the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. And as you can see here, the cyclones, not all cyclones will be developing an eye. Why? Because when there is a well established cyclone, then yes, it will be having eye, and based on that also the size of the eye will be depending whether it's a small eye or whether it's a big eye. Okay, and some cases there will be no existence of eye also. Okay, then the eye of a cyclone is a region relatively calm weather. So compared to the cyclones, whole body, this particular center, the eye, will be very calm. Why? Because there is no rain in this particular eye. So it has a very calm weather at the center of the storm, characterized by clear skies and light winds. There is no fast movement of wind is happening. Okay, and also the sky is very clear. There is no formation of clouds. There is no formation of clouds, so there is no precipitation happening in the eye. Okay, then only well-organized cyclones such as mature hurricanes or typhoons typically develop an eye. Okay, then the temperature inside the eye of a cyclone is actually warmer than the surrounding area, as I already told you. Then the eye is characterized by the sinking air which inhibits cloud formation. As I already told you, let's say this is the body of the cyclone and this is the eye of the cyclone. So what happens is, on the body of the cyclone, around the eyes, there will be upward movement, rising warm air, and these rising warm air will lead to the formation of clouds, and eventually that will lead to the formation of rain. But in the eye, there will be subsiding air. There is no, upward movement of air. There is a subsiding air. That's why there is no formation of cloud happening in the eye of a cyclone. So the temperature difference between the eye and the surrounding areas can be significant, with eye typically being warmer. So that's why the eyes are very warmer compared to the surrounding area of the cyclone. Next question, in the context of which of the following do some scientists suggest the use of cirrus cloud thinning technique and the injection of sulfate aerosol in stratosphere? Option A, creating the artificial rain in some region. Option B, reducing the frequency and intensity of tropical cyclone. Option C, reducing the adverse effect of solar wind on the earth. And option D, reducing the global warming. So if you see here, this cirrus cloud thinning and injection of sulfate aerosol in the stratosphere, these two are some of the geoengineering techniques. Okay, what these techniques are used for? They are majorly used for reducing the global warming. How? Let us say cirrus cloud thinning, what it means? It means that they'll be using a technique where they'll be thinning the cirrus clouds. As we already in the last class we would have talking about this thing, that we saw that high clouds and we have low clouds. What this high clouds does to the insolation and the radiation, terrestrial radiation, and what does this low clouds do to the insolation and the terrestrial radiation? So if you see here, these high clouds are more of a, they let in the insolation. Okay, they do very little reflection of the insolation and they let more of the insolation to reach the earth's surface. And apart from that, what it does is, the terrestrial radiation, in case of a terrestrial radiation, it traps most of the terrestrial radiation. Okay, it reflects back the terrestrial radiation towards the earth's surface and it let only small amount of terrestrial radiation to actually escape to the space. Okay, and if you see the low clouds, these low clouds, what they do is, in case of an insolation, they will be reflecting back or scattering more of a insolation. And apart from that, they also, trap very less amount of terrestrial radiation. They'll be letting the terrestrial radiation to escape to the space and only small amount of terrestrial radiation they'll be reflecting back to the earth's surface. So technically, these high clouds are, they are the villains, okay? They are also letting the incoming solar radiation to reach the earth's surface and also they are not letting the terrestrial radiation to escape, to the space. So, compared to the low clouds, these high clouds are very dangerous, okay, in trapping the heat in the earth's surface. So, if you see here, this cirrus cloud is one of a high cloud. They are majorly found in the higher altitudes of the atmosphere. So, what they do in this particular technique is, they will be thinning the, size of the cirrus clouds. So what happens because of this thinning? Let us say there is a presence of high cloud here and let us say this cirrus cloud is, using this technique, they are thinning this particular cirrus cloud or reducing the size of the, cirrus clouds. Then what will happen? The insolation, obviously there is no effect, but if you say in the terrestrial radiation, in case of a terrestrial radiation, as we already saw, most of the terrestrial radiation, they are, reflected back towards the surface of the earth. Because of that, a large amount of, heat is trapped inside the earth's surface. Okay, by reducing the size of this cirrus cloud, what will happen? This terrestrial radiation, most of the terrestrial radiation, instead of, getting trapped by the cirrus cloud, they'll be escaping towards the space. Okay, by this, what will happen? It will eventually reduce the global temperature. Okay, the global warming, we are facing the global warming, right? So this will eventually help us reduce the temperature of the earth's surface. Okay, so that's why this is one of the technique which is used for the reducing global warming. And apart from that, they have given the other technique. What is this? Injection of sulfate aerosol in the stratosphere. Whenever we talk about these aerosols, these dust particles, what they do, even though the dust particle is not, good for the environment, but there are some good things which they do. What are they? One is, let us say there are presence of dust particle in the atmosphere. What these dust particle do is, they scatter the incoming solar radiation in all the direction. So eventually what happened? Most of the insolation, they'll be scattered back to the space. Okay, instead of reaching the Earth's surface, these aerosols or the dust particle, they'll be scattering the insolation. And that's why if you see during a volcanic eruption, a large, number of this dust clouds are, erupted or they are released in the atmosphere. Then what will happen? These global temperature, let's say there is a big volcano, okay, and it released a large amount of, dust particles in the atmosphere. It will eventually, what will happen? It will reduce the temperature of the Earth's surface. It will reduce the temperature of the, whole of the atmosphere. Okay. So that's why these two techniques, by injecting sulfate aerosols, again it will be scattering more of the insolation. So along with this cirrus cloud thinning and injecting these sulfate aerosols to the stratosphere, both these techniques are used by geoengineers for reducing the temperature of the Earth. Okay, so D is the correct answer, reducing the global warming. Yes, you can see in this picture what happens is, let us say this is the sun, right? So what happens? These are some of the, particles or the aerosols which has been injected by the engineers, geoengineers. Okay, they artificially inject some of the aerosols in the stratosphere, sulfate aerosols, and what these aerosols do is they'll be scattering the insolation, incoming solar radiation in all the direction. So what will happen? Majority of the incoming solar radiation, it will be reflected back to the space. Okay, because of this the Earth's temperature will be reduced. And if you see these clouds, see here, this is a low cloud and this is a high cloud. So cirrus cloud is one of the example of a high cloud. So we have high cloud here, we have low cloud here. As we already saw, the low clouds, what they do is they reflect back majority of the incoming solar radiation. See, but what these high clouds do? They first of all, they don't reflect back majority of the incoming solar radiation. They let the incoming solar radiation to reach the Earth's surface. First of all, this is one thing which they are doing. And the second thing is the terrestrial radiation. They don't let the terrestrial radiation to escape into the space. Instead, what they do, they trap the terrestrial radiation, like majority of the terrestrial radiation, they trap it and they reflect it back to the Earth's surface. Okay. So because of this, these high clouds, especially the cirrus clouds, are, increasing the Earth's temperature. Because of that, we are having this technique of thinning the cirrus clouds. And by thinning the cirrus clouds, what happens? This particular phenomena, that is the increase in the more number of terrestrial radiation will be escaping to the space. Because of that, the global warming will be reduced. Okay, so these are the two techniques which we have discussed in this particular question. And you can read this thing we have already discussed, and you can read this as well. Okay, then next question, why are dewdrops are not formed on a cloudy night? A. Clouds absorb the radiation released from the Earth's surface. B. Clouds reflect back the Earth's radiation. C. Earth's surface would have low temperature on cloudy nights. And option D. Clouds deflect the blowing wind to ground level. So as usual, before seeing the explanation, try to answer this question yourself. Okay. So if you see here, they are talking about the dewdrops, and they are asking why the dewdrops are not formed on a cloudy night. And if you see, we have already discussed this particular, thing indirectly in one of the previous topic, in the same topic, one of the previous videos we talked about when we have cloudy night. So what will be the effect? As I already told you, in the daytime, when we are having the clouds, what will happen? It will reflect back majority of the insolation, incoming solar radiation. Because of that, the surface of the Earth will be comparatively colder. But in case of night, let's say in the night, we have a clouds present in the atmosphere. then what will happen? These clouds, during the night time, there will be terrestrial radiation. There is no insolation, there is no incoming solar radiation in the night time. So what these clouds will do, these terrestrial radiation, they'll reflect back the terrestrial radiation to the surface of the earth, and they don't let the terrestrial radiation to escape to the space. Okay, these things the clouds do. So if you see here, in a cloudy night, let us say during a night the clouds are present, as I already told you, what will happen? Majority of the terrestrial radiation are trapped inside the earth. But what they are saying, why there are no dewdrops present in the cloudy night? That is the main reason. Why? Because let us say this is the surface of the earth, there are clouds present in the atmosphere, and these terrestrial radiation are actually reflected back by the clouds. Because of that, the surface of the earth will be warmer compared to the normal case. When there is no clouds, it will be comparatively colder. Why? Let us say there is no cloud. This is the surface of the earth, and there will be terrestrial radiation happening in the night time. Then there is no presence of cloud in the atmosphere. So what will happen? These terrestrial radiation will escape to the space. So in the early morning or in the midnight, from the midnight to the early morning, you will be feeling cold in the surface of the earth. Okay. When there is cold, the temperature is very cold, and it will be helping in formation of dews. What are these dews? Let me show you the picture. These are dews. If you see, in leaves, grass, you will be seeing tiny droplets of water. It has not rained. Then where this droplet come from? These droplets are nothing but these are dews. And these dews are formed how? Because let us say there is presence of water vapor in the atmosphere, and the temperature of the surface, earth's surface, is very cold. Now what will happen? These water vapor will be, on any medium, let's say this grass or, any medium, there will be condensation will be happening, and these water vapor will be converted into a dewdrop. Okay, that's what happens when, let's say, you have kept a water bottle in the fridge, and you have taken out and you have kept in the room temperature. What will happen? After some time, around the water bottle, you will be seeing small droplets of water. Where these water droplets come from? Let us say in the atmosphere, there are many water vapor, they are flying, they are just roaming here and there in the atmosphere. Okay, when you keep that water bottle, because it is very cold, when this water bottle touch this particular cold surface, they are converted to a water droplet. Okay, that's what is happening here also. So here what's happening? These dews are formed because the water vapor, once it is touching a surface, let's say the grass or any other medium, they are converted into tiny droplets, and that's how these dews are formed in the normal case. Why in the normal case? After, a point, this terrestrial radiation is happening continuously. After a point in midnight, or let's say 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the early morning, there is no radiation left. Everything is gone. Okay. And after that, what will happen? This temperature, Earth's temperature, surface temperature will be cold. Okay. In the early morning, we'll be facing this cold weather, right? Cold temperature. Because of that only, because all the terrestrial radiation, they got escaped to the space. So because of this cold temperature, the dews are formed in the normal case. But in case of a cloudy night, what will happen? There will be no escape of the terrestrial radiation, or very less escape of the terrestrial radiation. Because of that, majority of the terrestrial radiation, they are reflected back to the Earth's surface, and the temperature of the Earth's surface is maintained. The heat is still maintained in the Earth's surface. Because of this, there is no, formation of dews is happening. For formation of dew, you need very low temperature, okay, cold temperature. But when you have a warm temperature, obviously you will be not having the dews formed, okay. Because of this, that is the reason. So what would be the right answer? They are saying clouds absorb the radiation released from the Earth's surface. Option B is saying clouds reflect back the Earth's radiation, and option C is saying Earth's surface would be have low temperature on the cloudy nights, and option D says clouds deflect the blowing wind to ground level. I think B is the most appropriate answer. Okay, if you see A also, clouds absorb the radiation released from the earth's surface. They are saying the clouds will be absorbing the radiation. Technically, if you see, the clouds will actually absorb and re-emit the radiation towards the earth's surface, right? But if you see B, option B, clouds reflect back the earth's radiation. So the more appropriate answer would be clouds reflect back the earth's radiation. Option D is the correct answer. Okay. So if you see here, dew forms when the temperature of the surface, like grass, leaves, car roof, you might also see this in the car roof. Okay, any medium, it just needs a medium, to form these dews. So whenever this surface or the medium, they are cooled down, then what will happen? The dew point temperature, there is something called as a dew point temperature, just like a freezing, freezing point. What is freezing point? Once the temperature of the water crosses the freezing point, it's below the freezing point, then the water will be freezing, right? Just like that, there is something called as a dew point temperature. So once the temperature of the medium is cools down below the dew point, then what will happen? The dews will be formed. Why? Because the water vapor, as usual, they will be roaming here and there, and once they reach the medium which is colder than the dew point, which is, the temperature is crossing the dew point, then once touching this medium, this water vapor will be converted into a beautiful dew. Okay. So, causing the water vapor in the air to condense into a liquid droplet. So, condensation is happening. Usually, the condensation will be happening in the atmosphere, right? The cloud formation and precipitation. But in, surface of the earth also, condensation will be happening. Okay. There are many examples. One of such example is formation of dews. Okay. Then, this process typically occurs overnight when the ground loses heat, allowing its temperature to drop. So, usually in the night time, terrestrial radiation will be happening. After a point, all the heat, they get escaped to the, space. When there is no clouds, okay, they will be escaping to the space. Then what will happen in the midnight, let us say, what will happen? The temperature of the earth's surface will be comparatively colder. Then what will happen? Because of this, the dews are formed. Okay. On cloudy nights, what will happen? Exactly the opposite is going to happen. On cloudy nights, the clouds act as a barrier to outgoing terrestrial radiation, and they reflect back these terrestrial radiation towards the earth's surface. Because of this, the temperature of the earth's surface is actually, heated. It's maintained. The heat is not able to escape from the earth's surface. Okay, because of this, there is no, possibility for the formation of dews here. Okay. So, instead of escaping into the space, much of this radiation is reflected back towards the surface by the clouds. This reflection prevents the surface temperature from dropping as much as it would on a clear night when the radiation escaped freely into the space. So, the two case you understand, right? When there is no clouds, obviously everything is escaped, all the heat is escaped, and the temperature of the earth's surface will be cooled down, then the dew will be formed. But eventually when there is a clouds, in the atmosphere, what will happen? They are not able to escape, the radiation is not able to escape, and because of this, the earth's temperature is maintained, trapped, the heat is trapped, in the earth's surface. Because of that, the temperature is not feasible. When there is a cold temperature, when it is below the dew point, then only the formation of dews will be happening. And when it is heat, when it is hot, the temperature, so there is no possibility of formation of dews in this particular temperature. Okay. So with that, we have come to the end of this video. We'll be seeing in the next class. Thank you, students.